That's right. Find us on YouTube at Elmendorf Acres. The stickers are on the truck. So, earlier I was discussing the differences between the Stihl MS261 and the Husqvarna 550 XP. And I've been running both of them today, and I actually really like both of them. I don't think I've got a favorite one way or the other. The Stihl right now does have the anti-kickback, semi-chisel chain, so it's not cutting quite as fast as the Husqvarna. Now, I usually run full chisel on my saws. This saw came with this particular chain on it, and there's no way I'm just going to throw it away, so we're using it right now. It works fine. It's a little bit more forgiving if you touch dirt. So if you're cutting firewood, or maybe you're a more novice saw operator where you hit the dirt once in a while, the semi-chisel is a little bit more forgiving, and it doesn't kick back quite as much, doesn't grab quite as much. But I wanted to take a video of these two saws side by side, just so you could see some of the differences with them. So here's from the top view. Right here is the Stihl MS261. This was the Husqvarna 550 XP. I like both of the saws. Both of them have an 18-inch bar. So for light firewood work or cutting smaller trees like we've been doing all day today, they work quite well. You can see from this angle that the Husqvarna has a little bit more of a cant on its handle here than the Stihl does. That, I would say, is more user preference. I find either one of them comfortable. One thing I will say is, even though they are 18-inch bars, the Stihl bar is a little bit longer than the Husqvarna bar. Now, I just so happen to have a tape measure with me in the truck, as I usually do. So I figured we can really compare them. And I'll go here to the very tip of the bar. And you'll see it's actually 17 inches, even though they say it's an 18-inch bar. So that's one thing that Husqvarna does, and they've always kind of done it. And it's curious to me. I don't have a real answer why. But here's the Stihl MS261. It's flat there. And you will see that that is actually 18 inches to the tip. So the bar is 1 inch longer as far as on this surface here. Now the other side, where we have the dogs, we'll lay both of them down. That way we can really see. So the dogs on the Stihl are definitely more aggressive than that on the Husqvarna. But let's take a quick look here. So right there is the most forward point of the Husqvarna dog. And that actually brings you down to about 15.5 inches. And with the Stihl, it's going to be this upper one here. So if we look from there and we run down here, that's 17 inches from the dog to the end of the bar. So as far as cutting a little bit bigger stuff, your Stihl will actually cut through a little bit better than the Husqvarna will. Now both of these have easy flip up caps. Both of them. You just spin them around. You don't need tools anymore. They make it nice and easy to do that. Husqvarna has the primer bulb there and the choke in the back. Stihl does not have a primer bulb, just the choke. Either way, I haven't had a hard time getting either one started. Now, one thing I did notice is I've got a little bit bigger hands. So, that being said, you look at the handle on the Stihl compared to the handle on the Husqvarna. The Husqvarna handle is larger. So for me, running it all day in the woods, that handle fits my hand better. Now, if you have a smaller hand, the Stihl will probably fit your hand better. So overall, if we take these saws, and we go from the very end, which is right about there. I'm not being exact here, but I'm getting as close as I can, to about there. Looks like you've got 35 inches. So this saw is 35 inches long, and the Husqvarna 550 comes in right about there at 33.5 inches long. So there is a little difference, definitely a difference in length. I would argue that that is made up by the bar size. So it is nice actually buying a saw and getting the advertised specs, right? When you buy a saw and you say you want an 18-inch bar and it comes through at 17, that's a little disappointing. Of course, those of us who run Husqvarna and who have run Husqvarna for a lot of years know that that is just the way it is. But overall, after using both of them side by side all day long in the woods, I am happy with both of them. And I would say that for someone who is a little older or smaller, especially a smaller built person or smaller hands, the Stihl MS261 is a better fit than the Husqvarna 550. The other thing that the Stihl has is the recoil to start it is much easier than the Husqvarna. So that's really nice for somebody who's a little older or doesn't quite have the body mass like I do to really yank on a saw. So just a couple observations after using them all day, like I said, side by side in the woods. I'm happy with both of them. I think that either of them is a good purchase. One of my recommendations is always to go in the store, find a dealer that you like, and go with them. One of the reasons that I went with Husqvarna is because my grandfather used it, but we also had a dealer that we really liked in the neighborhood or in our area. They were about 15 minutes away, and they were very knowledgeable when it came to maintenance on these machines. Now, with them being shut down and with a lot of Husqvarna's manufacturing being moved over to China, we made the switch, at least partially, to Stihl equipment, which is made in Germany and the United States. And I'm a big proponent of being made here in the States. Many times we don't have an option as to where the things we use every day are made. But I find that I'm willing to pay a little bit more to have it made locally, and especially made here in the United States. I wear flannel shirts every day. I'm sure most of you have noticed that I basically switch between 3 shirts, a blue one, a green one, and a red one. And I got a whole bunch of these shirts. They're my favorite shirts. They're made by a company called Big Bill. I'm not sure if you can see that. Now, Big Bill's shirts are made right here in the United States. And they also have a manufacturing plant out in Canada. So the nice thing is, whatever you buy from them, it's made either in the United States or Canada. And I really like to support businesses that are made in America. Now, I wear Red Wing boots. I pay extra to buy the non-imported Red Wings. It's just something that I do. I don't know if they last any longer, but I like to say things should be made in America, and I believe if you say it, then you gotta live it. And if it means paying $75 more for a pair of boots, then so be it. But those are just some of my thoughts. You know, some of our machinery is definitely made in China. It's definitely made in other countries, and I have to be okay with that. But when possible, we try to buy things that are made here in the United States, and we try to buy from stores that are locally owned. We do business with Eklund Farm Machinery up in Stamford, New York. That's where our tractor came from. It's where some of the attachments came from. It's where our SnowX plow and sander came from. We did business locally with our local mower shop till they went out of business, but they were where I shopped exclusively. It was a local mom and pop type shop, and those are what I like to support, right? They're the people that are giving money back into the community. So if you have an option to shop local, buy things made locally, or buy things made in the United States, it is keeping folks that you and I all know employed. So just my thoughts on made in the United States stuff, and a little bit of a rant, I guess, about things made elsewhere. But this was our no real specs review on these two saws. I don't have a scale that's accurate. It does feel that the Stihl is lighter than the Husqvarna. So I can check on some of the specs when I get home and when I edit this video. But all in all, two great saws. I'm real happy with both of them. And like I said, the Stihl comes through with a semi-chisel low kickback chain. And if you are a more novice saw operator, that is definitely something I would recommend starting with. It is also more forgiving if you get into dirt or you hit the ground. Let me walk you over here quick to where we've been working all day. When we started out here this morning, it was 31 or somewhere in that range. Got up to about 32 and a half, and now it's dropping pretty quick. You can see the mud that we've been kicking up, but this mud in the last hour has started to freeze. So we've got a pretty good cold snap coming at us. But you can see the area that we've been working here, which is kind of the snowy area, taking about 30 trees out of here so far in the last 2 days. A couple pieces of firewood. We've still got this maple and this oak, 2 hemlocks here, and there's one more hemlock closer to the building we still need to take out. It's getting dark, and Owen's got the lights on the tractor. So we're just wrapping up for the day. It's right around 5:30, and I can still see to work, but really not safe to run a saw at this point unless it's an emergency. So we're wrapping up, and the nice thing is, being 5:30 and still light enough to see, it means that the days are getting longer. So that's something that we all look forward to, we all enjoy, is when the days start to get longer. No matter how much you love winter, and I certainly love winter, it's kind of depressing when the sun goes down at 20 after 4. So getting to 5:30 and you can still see, that's a nice thing. Granted, part of it is because we had that little bit of snow, that little snow covering, so it adds some light to the woods. But the sun just went down behind the mountain a few minutes ago, and it got a whole lot colder. So I'll take you for a quick walk up to the fire that Owen has been feeding all day long. He's been doing a good job with this fire today. And you can see some of the mud that we've been kicking up here. This is our little road that we put in. This was an old wood road, so we took all the small brush out of it and things that have fallen down, and put fabric down and brought in a road base, and then did a real light top on it. Didn't feel the need to spend a lot of money on top coating it because we're just beating it up. But there's the fire. Nice little fire. It's been going all day. We had it going yesterday too. Lots of mud here. There's the fire. A lot of trees went into that one today. Pretty muddy up here. The tractor has made hundreds of trips into here today. And you can see the bed of coals that this thing has. So this is why I like burning this time of year. because it's really safe. You see the snow on the ground all around. Doesn't matter when the sparks come down, unless they happen to hit you, and that's unfortunate, but we've been burning this all day. We started, I think, up in here earlier, and it kind of grew backwards. That's what happens when you feed it with a machine. Don't want to get too close to the machine. Definitely don't want to suck a spark into the air box. Make a mess for all of us for the day. But little fire video to end the day. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and please share.